So always looking up has a lot of different meanings. So one is, as your viewers might already think, is because I'm only 132 centimeters tall, so I'm looking up
Yes,
most
that
of the
is a
time when I
easier way
speak
for
to
people to
people.
think. Yeah,
So that's the literal meaning. But
yeah.
then there's like a twist, and that is that I do my best to be positive, optimistic,
Mm,
and go through and embrace life's challenges.
mm.
So I think that's all we can do. We can just do, and by focusing on that, then I care a lot less about people who might stare
Oh,
at me or tease me because their opinion
yeah.
doesn't matter.
Welcome to the house of empowerment. We never met in person, and most of our guests from our podcast, we never actually meet in person, but we always see something in common, which is the empowerment aspect. And I remember when I met you, it was an online event, and you gave me very thoughtful feedback through an email. Imagine, right? You met somebody that you don't know in an event, and then you receive that thoughtful email of how you would be more effective for the next time when you perform. That person cares. So I just feel it from you even before the emails, and I just feel like that a very compact package of your thoughtfulness, your heart, and your empowerment. So Wolfstar, welcome to the house of empowerment. You want to share something about
Thank you.
you before we kick off today?
Thank you so much, Jan. That means a lot. Would I like to share something? I love to challenge myself, both physically and mentally. And I think that's an important component of empowering ourselves. Back to you.
It's like a very short and sweet. Back to you. It's like our culture when we do a meeting in our public speaking community named Toastmaster, right? And I remember like I got that email from you, and we met I think 3 times on the online meeting, and I followed you on LinkedIn since then. And congratulations, I saw you with the new book, and we knew that in just 10 minutes ago conversation that you care for 5 years. Look up, right? The very like important phrase. And how was that journey of making that book out?
Thank you. So I thought that when I started the book that I had been through a journey, but little did I know that I was entering a new journey about writing and completing my first book, which
Mm,
actually took more than 5 years. 5 years. And during those 5 years, there was a lot of, I learned a lot about myself, finding my voice in writing, being active on social media. So it's been a journey in itself, uh, writing and completing my first book, which is called Always Looking Up, Om att våga visa sig själv, which in English would be about daring to show yourself.
wow. Always looking up, no matter you are told or you're not told. I think your stories has a very significant impact on people who has some limiting belief about their appearance that impacts on their inner belief about their capability from inside. And I was that one of many people that I was called ugly, weird, and I became very grumpy when I was a kid, and I became even more weird and ugly, I would say. And then I one day I told myself, okay, inner beauty, inner capability. So I draw myself as a smiley person to also cover up on whatever people wanted to say or I told myself. But it helps me to actually also evolve on that journey. And I just think like this is a great big topic. So how did you see that it was enough for me to actually bring that topic out to the world? Because I think we always face say, is it enough? I'm enough to actually make this topic.
It came from my father. He encouraged
Mm.
me to write a book, and then my mentor in the beginning of when I was in Toastmasters International,
Mm.
he when he explained to me why it was important that I to write this book, I then became aware that it can be a book that can help others and inspire others. And also, I had been through a lot recently during that time. I joined Toastmasters. I done improv comedy. I was in Berlin, Germany on my own and had learned a lot at my work. I had also just recently done stand-up comedy for the first time. There was
Congratulations.
a lot of things that I had done, and it also came from two other people who encouraged me. So it wasn't just my idea.
Mm. It's really like a continuous journey and it has different milestones. So can we go back to where did the journey start? Where did the journey of empowering yourself start?
That's a great question. I would think when I decided Toastmasters means a lot to me. I've been a member of the organization for
Mm.
7 years.
Mm.
So in a way, I would say that was a big decision uh, especially when it comes to empowering myself. When I decided, when I made the decision that I was going to commit to Toastmasters and say yes to almost everything. And that made me face multiple times things outside of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
And I think that's a key component of uh, growing, improving ourselves, learning about ourselves is going outside our comfort zone. And over time, I think that will empower us. So I would say that was one of the key moments when I decided to commit to Toastmasters. And I'm
What made
still
you
an
want
active
to
member.
commit to that journey? What was the pain or what was the desire to make you say, okay, I need to have a community or I need to do something about what? What was the something that made you say, okay, I had to change?
I was in a lot of pain. You've hinted upon it because I was at the time I was just working. I
Uh-huh.
was working in a job. I was like the first one in, last one out. And if you're just working, then I could only have conversations about work. The only people I
Mm.
saw outside of work were my colleagues. And eventually it led to a point where I was lacking meaning. Uh,
Oh, wow.
and I had heard about Toastmasters a few years before. So I thought to myself, oh, they must have an English speaking club
Mm-hmm.
in Berlin. And Toastmasters is a positive community. There was a lot of internationals. It was English speaking. So I was in a lot of pain. So eventually it just led to a point where it's just like, okay, enough is enough. I want to
Enough
find a
is enough. Yeah.
meaningful hobby.
So how can a person they have been in pain but not enough yet? Should they just continue to get to the point when they feel enough, or what would be that key takeaway here? Is just like knowing that where we are now, what is our feeling, and do something about it.
No, I definitely think that someone can make that decision before. Like, because it would be a shame if we always just wait until the pain is so much. But in reality, if you think about it, we can make that decision before. It's just like just truly decide and make that
Mm.
change or commitment. And once you've decided and made the commitment, then a new world opens up.
Yeah, I think that's why we have the podcast like this because you can hear from somebody who has been in the pain enough to not need to wait and can ask, okay, I have felt that for some months or some weeks. Let's do something about it. Let's commit to the change. So after that, and did you also go through another journey? You said that you recently stepped up to another journey, right? And you also need to make a decision. So what was that next one after the journey with Toastmaster? What was the next empowering journey? The startup
The,
one,
the,
right?
the book.
At the book,
Then no,
yeah.
completing the book, starting the book journey, and eventually, or at least for me, I was stuck many times. It took more than 5 years to complete the book. There was a period of a whole year where I didn't do anything, where I
Wow.
thought I was never gonna complete this. Why expose myself? Fear talking, Jam. Like why
Uh,
put myself through this? But then around 14 months ago, I made the commitment.
mm,
Maybe that came from pain as well. But I made the commitment, and what I did was I created an Instagram account,
okay.
and I had accountability. I made a post to say, my first post was, I'm going to use this Instagram account to document my journey of publishing my first book, which will be called Always Looking Up. And then a year later or 14 months later, it happened.
Wow, congratulations. And thanks to
Thank
the
you.
Instagram account. It, yeah, it goes back to going back to that very first part is about you will repeated your routine at work and you looked for the meaning. You asked what was that meaning of your life, and you found a community around it who always looks for the positivity and the development and the connection, which is Toastmasters one of, and then you really want to bring out that message of the book, and you was in the fears, and I think that's a journey that every one of us just goes through in one and another form. We just create in our
Mm.
mind, and that decision of making that commitment that it's gonna need to happen. So how was that journey, that painful journey of you like wondering about the book, the fears? Is this accumulated over time to get to the point enough is enough, or what was that process? Can you break it down to the commitment point? Okay, I need to finish the book. I need to create the account of Instagram.
So in the beginning, just because I think I'm writing a book is very vulnerable, because it's just on a
Mm.
page and anybody could
Can read.
read it, and you cannot communicate. It's not like when we're
Yeah,
communicating
it's like you
through
cannot
through body
explain, like,
language.
or maybe they
Yeah, you cannot
misunderstand it.
explain. It's all there. And you
Mm,
can't be taken away. You can't like edit it. So in
that's
the
true.
beginning, it was a huge thing, to it felt like when I was sending the draft of the book to an editor, that felt like I was sending, a piece of me over the internet to someone to critique. So it was very difficult in the beginning to even take feed, even though I have experience from Toastmasters. I just felt like this was just on another level of vulnerability and taking in feedback. But then you start getting more used to it, and by being in it and going through it. And for example, when I created the Instagram account, in the beginning, it was a private account. And then someone told me, Gustav, for these type of things, like for a book, you're supposed to have a public account. You cannot decide who's gonna buy your book, and just that was a huge fear. Oh, if I have a public account, then anybody can go in and see. And but then you get over that. And then eventually another thing was recording myself for an Instagram reel or TikTok video. So it's just been a journey where, okay, in the beginning, this felt uncomfortable. But then over time, that's the amazing thing is if you go through it, eventually something that you thought was really challenging or uncomfortable, maybe last week or sorry, maybe 6 months ago or 3 months ago, or even last week, now you can just do it like that without even thinking.
It's so beautiful about the feeling that we assume that somebody gonna say something when they read what about us in that kind of paper things, right? Because we cannot use, yeah, them, yeah, as you said, body language or other explanation to let them to not misunderstand in a way. So it was also the journey of me when I was like writing the book. I thought like, okay, what if they see that not good as the other one? It's just like the story that we create in our own mind. And that is it, really a journey that we had to go beyond our limiting self. So how did you learn about yourself from that journey that you didn't know before?
Is with
Is the book when you wrote
with
the
what I just
book,
talked about, or with the book in
the
general?
when you wrote the book, the journey of 5 years made you understand about yourself that you didn't know about it before.
For example, I didn't know my first years when I was born, like how it was for my parents. Like when did they find out that I had achondroplasia, which is the most common form of short stature? Because I'm
Mm,
only 132 centimeters tall, despite being 32 years old, and I'm a man. That's one thing that I didn't even know what went through my parents when they saw me for the first time, and they found out that I had this condition. What did they do? What led them to deciding that they were not going to treat me differently to my older brother and then later my younger brother? Also through the book, I did you do a lot of reflecting, especially when it's about yourself or experiences. So I've learned and gotten insights and gotten meaning from certain experiences, and also some really difficult experiences, almost traumatic experiences, are through writing about it, they're no longer traumatic, or I have a lot more distance, and it's almost like I've forgotten about them. But then when I read it again, I of course remember, but I have more distance. So it's been a lot of learning about myself through writing the book.
mm. So that was kind of a memory that your dad and your mom told you, or you just remember again after you sit down.
No, so the part about my parents, I don't remember that because I was only a baby, or I was talking about a bit later on in my life.
Mm,
So when I was writing about it, I remembered it. But then after that, like now, I have way more distance to that event. So I'm not talking
mm,
about the event when I was born because I just don't
mm.
remember from that
Yeah.
age.
And how was that the journey of you to like put in the book the whole life of you in the book, or it's a part of your life after the Toastmaster?
No, there's many experiences from my life, but
Mm,
of course, I found a way to write, like through finding my voice, and found a way of where I felt comfortable. So, for
mm,
example, I've mentioned very few people by first name, and the
mm,
people that I mentioned by name uh, are positive. So it's not like I write this person, this former colleague, or this teacher that I didn't like, or this person. It's because I'm about the positivity, especially when
mm,
it's like written and anyone can buy the book.
mm, mm. So, what is a key factor for a person to just always look up?
a key factor. So always looking up has has a lot of different meanings. So one is, as your viewers might already think, is because I'm only 132 centimeters tall, so I'm looking up
Yes,
most
that
of the
is a
time when I
easier way
speak
for
to
people to
people.
think. Yeah,
That yeah, so that's the literal meaning. But
yeah.
then there's like a twist, and that is that I do my best to be positive, optimistic,
Mm,
and go through and embrace life's challenges.
mm.
So I think that's all we can do. We can just do, and by focusing on that, then I care a lot less about people who might stare
Oh,
at me or tease me because their opinion
yeah.
doesn't matter.
Mm. How can you define the challenges that you set for yourself is actually the the right one for you?
How like
The
the
challenges
challenges
that
that I
you, because you
choose to
say that
do.
we always need to challenge ourselves, right? How can a person to really see that that's the next challenge for them? What is that next challenge for them? And the challenge is the effective challenge for them.
So of course, with challenges, and I mentioned this in the book, is that there are of course challenges that are difficult. Like it might be that we get injured, that we lose our jobs, that
Mm.
we're sick, or someone that we care about, passes away. And what we're speaking about here is specifically the challenges that we can choose, like whether it's Toastmasters, podcasting, writing a book, doing a sport. And it's very difficult to answer why, like to keep, like what is it that for me that I keep pushing myself. Because I do get butterflies in my stomach when I'm challenging myself,
Oh,
but at the same time, I love it as well.
yeah.
So it's a weird relationship
Yeah, I
where it's
think
like, okay, I
it's
have butterflies, but
mhm.
at the same time, it's excitement as well.
Yeah, I think that what we call like the vibrancy of the excitement and the kind of nervousness somehow is also kind of vibrant, but we give the meaning to it. And you mentioned on that like the challenges that we can choose. We actively, proactively choose it, maybe based on our mission or what we're looking for, right? So uh, have you experienced the kind of time where we just set a challenge to make us feel that we are doing the challenges to feel sexy about it rather than actually commit to make it happen? Because I see a lot of us also step into the challenge mode, reading new books or getting fit or things like that. Sometimes it's just a shallow level. We are interested in it, not really about we are committed to it. So what is your journey on that point? You get to the point where you commit rather than you only interested because people say it's good. It's a good challenge, so go for that. But actually it's not really for you.
So you mean what is it that would
Yeah, it's
help
kind of like
people
very going around
to
question, right?
commit?
Yeah, because I normally what I normally talk about is like, are you committed or are you interested in it? And I see that we tend to get ourselves into some new challenges, reading book, getting fit, and things like that, or master a new language. But sometimes it really comes from the place of being interested in it rather than being committed to it. So how can we really know? Okay, this
It's
is the thing.
it's no, but it's I think commitment is crucial. Yeah, because if you're gonna learn a new language, and if you're just interested versus like if you decide, okay, I'm going to I moved to this country. I'm gonna learn this language like within a year. I'm gonna be able to
Mm.
speak and write at least at a decent level. And the interest can come later when you because learning a language, for example, it's not fun in the beginning because you make a lot of mistakes. You who wants to not be good at keep speaking a language, and you think and you're misunderstood, and you're an adult and making all these mistakes that children who are born in that country don't make. So
Mm.
I think it's really important to, and it's up to you, whoever is watching this, to decide what is important to you, what do you want to commit to? Because that's gonna lead, in my view, to a lot faster learning growth, and the interest will develop over time, even if you don't have the interest in the beginning. So
Oh,
for me,
that's interesting.
commitment
I
is
love that.
commitment is very important.
You start with the commitment first. Hmm. Because I think like sometimes we start with the thing that we are interested in, and that makes us just like start on the journey. Yeah, but
No,
if
but you can do
we,
that as well. Like you go to different things, or like how do you because how do you know what to commit to?
yeah,
That's if we knew that, then that would make life easier. But we have this thing called choice,
yeah, exactly.
and lots of choices.
Yeah. So during the journey of 5 years, which is actually equals to somebody build a business to the point where it may be run stably or scalably. Did you write more than what you thought? And what was the part where you went beyond what you planned?
Can you please repeat the
The
question?
book, right? You is imagine that you just things that you want to write this number of the topics, and then you probably wrote more because you dig deeper into your unconscious or subconscious level, or is just shorter than you thought?
In the beginning, it was I had like an idea of how I was going to structure the book, but then I realized that that structure wasn't going to work at all. And one of the challenges was nearing the end of the journey. It was like how to finish the book. So for me, it wasn't, I was just adding more and more topics. It was
Mm.
just being able to decide, okay, this is how I'm going to finish.
Yes, it's similar like when we do something, right? We don't finish it, and we just
Yeah.
want to continue. So what was the journey of you saying, okay, I is this was the journey of creating the account Instagram, or what was that moment that you said, okay, I had to finish it, no more adding? Yeah.
Because we had a deadline.
Oh,
So
yeah, but you don't need to
deadline
follow the
helps.
deadline, right? You don't need to follow the deadline, I guess.
No, no. But in my head, I also wanted to follow the deadline. So it wasn't just that the deadline decided. Because no, but it's an important. How am I gonna finish this? Because you can spend like 20 years on the book, or you never finish it, and
Yeah.
you just have to eventually. It's never because perfection doesn't exist, so it's never
Mm.
there's and you could always do it 1,000 different ways, and it's just I just found acceptance. Okay, this is how I'm gonna finish it, and I'm okay with that. Like, of
Mm.
course, I know that there's 1,000 other ways that I could have done this, but this is the way, and I want to finish, and I want this to become a book, and I want to move on. I don't want to be stuck in this for 10
Yeah.
years, 20 years.
So complete it before and then make it better, not waiting until it's perfect, right? I think that easier to be said than done. It's like, but we all kind of stuck to the point where we just wanna be very good at or great at that or perfect, and then we just leave it there. So you decided that it's acceptance and you finish it to move on. what were the very three main obstacles for a person to just always looking up? What would be the typical obstacles on that journey of always looking up?
What did you say? Three
The
signposts? Three
the difficulties or
three
the
steps?
challenges, yeah, the obstacles.
The number three challenges. One is, I guess, fear. And I think fear is probably related to everything what stops us. Being in our I don't know, comfort zone, insecurity, and not believing that you can actually you can change. Like you can empower yourself. So if you don't have the evidence yet, then maybe
Mm,
you don't even think it's possible. But the
mm,
moment that you do get uh, the experience, or you get more self-confidence, or you're in like a positive community, in that case, it's very challenging if you don't have any evidence or experience of that, because then maybe you don't even think it's possible to change. Or
yeah, I think these are very typical for most of us when we want to achieve something. So, what is the next journey of you looking up after the book? Is this a startup or what is next?
what is next? No, I'm gonna focus on this for a bit. I want right now it's only available in Swedish. So the next part will eventually be that it gets released in English, because I know a lot of people like you who don't
Congratulations.
speak Swedish.
You said like,
So
oh,
so
it's
that
not in
would
English
be
yet.
it's not in English yet. So that would be the next step, because I'm committed to that, because I know a lot of people who don't speak
Yeah.
or read
And
Swedish.
also the community, the Toastmaster one is English community.
Hmm.
So a lot of Toastmasters ask you.
Oh, Toastmasters, friends,
Mm,
former colleagues.
yeah. Okay. Putting it in English, and you also do programs around it?
Not yet. The book was only released around 3 weeks ago. So I'm open, Jen, to what the world will offer. And I think it's important also to be patient.
Yeah.
These things, because this is my first book, and I went on TV, I went on radio, I'm going on podcasts. But I think it's also important to be patient and to embrace the journey, and not just
Embrace.
feel rushed and not to feel rushed that you need to get here or there.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
believe
Yeah.
it will happen, and yeah.
So this really like the time now to also digest. And it took 5 years to write the book, so maybe 5 years to actually bring the values of the book in different platforms. So we just get
No,
started 3 weeks. You went to be interviewed in different channels. Did you learn something during that journey of being interviewed?
yes,
Yeah,
definitely,
yeah, you
because you can
learned something
imagine.
that you didn't know that oh it was it.
But imagine if you're gonna go on national radio in your country. Like, I don't know how many people listen to it. I don't even want to fully know, but maybe let's say 1 million people. You're about to go on national TV. Sweden is not as big as some of maybe the countries that are watching this. There's like 10 million people. You're also going on TV where there's like, I don't know, around 400,000 people are gonna watch this, and your first book is going to be released. All this is happening within 2 days. So that's a lot. And
to
I'm
to
used to
feel
giving speeches. I'm used to giving speeches in front of, 20, 30 people. but not speaking, knowing that a tenth of my home country will either hear me or see me during these 2 days. So that was a really big challenge for me. But going through it, I learned a lot just by going through it because it was my first time on radio, it was my first time on TV. So I learned about the format. The interviews are usually very short, so I worked on being like concise.
Okay, that makes me remind myself now. The interview is not that short and not concise. It's not condensed, not applying all the Toastmaster feedback. And I can see like how did you answer today? It is the very like great format for the short interview in the TV. It's like I spoke even more than you. That's amazing. So congratulations one more time on that. And never actually felt that long during the journey of a book, but I think it's around 3 years often sometimes. Yeah. So the recent one that I got, also I think the major challenge was I said like the book was about being reborn, and I told myself I
Mm.
have not been reborn yet. So I try to wait until I'm reborn. And I said, no. So I said, like, yeah, I never gonna be reborn 100%. It's just reborn every day. So that's very interesting to get beyond my our limiting belief to just get it done. So you said that you went on the new journey of starting up a new business because of the book, or what was that decision come? Where did it come from? That's
No,
yeah.
so right now I'm focused on like going and promoting the book, and I'm hoping that I can do this for and continue to do it and have the English version of the book,
Mm,
maybe a second, third book. So that's something I'm working on.
mm, mm-hmm. Okay.
Has the recording stopped? Or
That is okay. We can get it from the Facebook. And
yeah.
so I think like it's so interesting that you get that patient mindset. You always have that patient.
No, it's something I recently learned or about specifically with this because I'm always learning. Like I listen to a lot of podcasts. I listen to a lot
Mm,
of uh, I read. I listen to audiobooks. And when I got to a point where this person was explaining why it's important to be patient. It doesn't just you don't
mm,
just go from uh, first time author and then you're gonna become, I don't know, bestseller or 10,000 followers or 10,000 listeners on your on a podcast or whatever it is. Like it doesn't just happen like that. And
yeah.
then if you're not patient and you're stressed or rushing or like it doesn't mean that you don't do anything. It's just I don't know, it's difficult to
You
describe.
just on the
And it's something
journey,
I
right? You
yeah.
just the journey, but you're not like just wait, but you do things, but you just the journey will be unfold. Yeah. I think that also makes me reflect on why I wrote different books. Sometimes it's just to make me feel that I'm enough to share. And another part of that is to express and package one part of my life. So
Mm.
when I look at the deeper meaning of that, it for me in that sense of that I think I grab up my part of my life and then I just move on, as you said. So yeah, being patient and let that unfold. And do you have any practice to make that happen? It's like people do meditation and things like that. Do you do any kind of practice to be patient?
That's a good question. I think it's for me, it came more as like a reflection and understanding.
Mm-hmm.
But of course, meditation, for me, it helps in other ways.
Okay.
But this actually came from reflection and from watching this video or podcast, and also since I'm like experiencing it, I think you need to experience something, and then when you watch someone who's been through something similar explain their wisdom or their learning, for you to fully understand it. If you haven't, like, if you don't have the experience, even though you can understand the words, you don't really take it in. So I would say this came from that. But meditation definitely has uh, a lot of benefits.
Yeah, so we just talked last time, I think 3 weeks ago. One of our friends, he also works on the journey to get to this career of people development, and he used AI to check, and he was recommended to do meditation, increase more over time. So it was interesting. So now I think that that is a question to wrap up today. Very short, not such short interview as a TV, but I think not yet dig deeper into the book
Mm.
essence. And we're looking forward to the English one. So we like to ask you some kind of habits so you can empower the journey or embrace the journey. What would be the three best practices for you to embrace the journey?
You're asking me, or is it me and giving it to your
I ask you.
viewers?
I
What
ask
are three things? Can
to
you say it
embrace
again?
the journey effectively. Yeah.
The current journey that I'm going through.
Yeah, to anyone who want to step into the new empowering journey, what would be their three practices?
There are three practices. Ooh, that's a very good question, John. One is, I think commitment is important
Okay.
to make the decision that you're gonna go into this journey,
Mm,
because it's gonna be ups and downs. There's going to be challenges. You're going to face insecurities. You're going to learn about parts of yourself that you maybe don't like. And by being committed and making that decision, you will get through it. The second thing is, it's not a weakness, in my view, to ask for help. It's a strength. Because I think in a lot of cultures or countries, society views asking for help as a weakness. But I think it's a strength. And also you're giving someone else the gift of helping you, which feels good, or at least for most people.
mm,
Because if you're gonna go and challenge yourself, whatever journey it is, there might be times where you're having a really hard time, and you know, and you want to figure it out all yourself. But there are people, friends, family, uh, experience like mentors or indirect mentors who can, guide you so you can get back on the right path. Uh, and the third one is, just remind yourself that all you can do is your best with the time and energy that you have. So don't compare yourself to other people. Just, you're doing your best. And a part of a journey, if it just went perfect, no wind, it's just a smooth sail, then it's not memorable. So it's also, that's a part of a journey, is that There's going to be setbacks. There's going to be challenges because once you get to the end or you've completed or gone through it, it's going to mean so much more than if it was just like smooth from point A to point B.
Thank you. Very precise and very practical. And I think this the time for us to reflect upon what you shared today and also have our 3 key points, either similar to yours or it's going to be ours. But the idea is to actually practice upon it. So, what is the challenge that you have for all of us after this conversation to do to really turn something you share today become our action? What is the one challenge? We normally like ending with the one challenge at the end.
What's one challenge that
Yeah, to everyone who
for
listen,
your
so they can do now.
one challenge? Next time that you're critical about to yourself or you beat yourself up for making a mistake, or I challenge you to be kind in that moment. So next time that you're aware that you weren't happy with what you said, what you did, or you feel like you were stupid, or why did you say that? I challenge you to be kind to yourself in that moment.
Thank you. Wow. So I will practice it. I'm kind with myself because some parts of today events I felt I would make it better. So I'm kind with myself to thanks to myself that we had a great team who always wanted to make great things. And yes, let's move on.
Yes.
Okay, thanks. And also, I challenged myself to be okay that I didn't really dig very deep into the conversation today with Gustaf. I think that we have more to learn from him because the coming version of the book will be in English. And when it will be the time for the English version, you have the estimated time.
Spring 2025.
Yeah, the English
So
version.
yeah, the English version. Yeah.
Oh, wow. So we're looking forward to it. And thank you for teaching us about embrace the next challenge, but at the same time to be patient with the journey. And I think that part is really a great equation or like 2 wings for us to move on, to keep taking action at the same time to be patient and grateful for what we have done. So thank you for all of what you have shared today.